Good evening, everyone. Back again. Gonna jump on with a quick little, I say quick little. We're gonna give a little review of Darlington this past weekend with the 3 Series racing. And then as we get through that, we're gonna go ahead and creep forward to the preview of Martinsville. We're gonna go from the egg-shaped track to the paperclip. So looking back at Darlington was a good weekend of racing across all 3 series, to be honest. We had the truck series kicked it off with a great race the whole night, and then at the end we had the "where did he come from" moment, where which somehow this was missed, I guess. Some Corey Heim put on some scuff tires that were better tires than the front runners and restarted, I want to say somewhere between 5th and 8th, and round up cranking out and just took off. You could tell how much tires make a difference. And if you watch the preview I did about Darlington, you'll see that was mentioned, that tires, even 2 to 3 lap tires, could make a difference on this track. So obviously it did in that race. He just literally came from nowhere and just blitzed past everybody to take the win. I don't want to say steal the win, because Corey Heim is a phenomenal driver. So that's what we had there with the Craftsman Truck Series. Moved over to Saturday, where the O'Reilly's Auto Parts Series took center stage. And kind of like the Truck Series, Justin Allgaier just kind of hung around and eventually wound up on a restart and started next to Brandon Jones and just got the lead and never looked back. Allgaier is so good at every different style of track. He's somebody that you're going to have to be a force with when it comes to the chase later on this in the fall. So as expected, I mean, those were, Corey Heim is always in the mix. I've mentioned it in the preview. Allgaier is always in the mix. So it's hard to pick against either one of those two. And as we get into Martinsville, it'll be much of the same probably. I don't think Heim's going to run Martinsville, but we'll see. I'll have to try to check the cut list. I don't know if I'll have the entry list out yet. I'll look here in a little bit. But so far, it's led out to pretty much what it went. And then we rolled into Sunday with the big Cup boys taking, their center stage. And 4 of the races before, just like it. I mean, Tyler Reddick just does Tyler Reddick things. That race team 2311 is just on a whole different level right now. Those guys are it's King Midas all over. Everything they touch is golden right now. To see the Michael Jordan excitement again is crazy. To see somebody of his stature and everything he's done and won, and to see the level of excitement, it's like watching a kid again. He's jumping up and down, going crazy. And then when you watch him next to Tyler Reddick, it's even funnier, because Tyler Reddick is like 5'2", maybe. That's probably a joke. No disrespect to Tyler Reddick or any short people out there, but it's pretty funny to see Jordan standing next to him. So, but Tyler Reddick, won the pole, dominated. There for a while, I thought RFK Racing, Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing, was going to have something for. At one point, you had all the RFK cars, the 6, the 17, and the 60, running 1, 2, and 3. Brad Keselowski actually won the first 2 stages of the race and finished second overall. But Tyler Reddick, again, had better tires at the end. And once he got clear and all he had to do was chase down Keselowski, it was just a matter of time. I mean, he was knocking, 3 to 4 tenths a lap a second off, which doesn't seem like much when you're measuring 3 to 4 tenths of a second. But when you've got, 20 laps to go and you're a second or two behind, 3 tenths of that second per lap, that's, 3-4 laps and you've passed him. So once he got ahead of Brad, it was pretty much game over at that point. Ryan Blaney had a really good car. Again, Blaney does really well at those tracks. Had some issues with some other cars. Joey Logano just missed the setup completely on his car and was just bad. Finished massive laps down. Bubba Wallace for 2311 had a bad little run there. So just, I don't know what's going to take for Reddick and that 2311 team. They just, like I said, they've got everything clicking right now. There's nobody locked into the chase yet. We've raced, a few races out of 26. So, nobody's locked in. Nobody's really eliminated yet. But you've raced 6 races out of 26. So you have 20 races to go. So we'll get into point standings here in just a little bit. But all in all, Darlington proved to be what Darlington is. They'll be back there again in the fall. This was a 400 lap race. They'll be back in the fall for a 500 lap, which is a long race. That thing starts in the daylight and ends under the lights. So the track changes a lot in the fall, plus the temperature is always different. So we're gonna keep an eye on that as we get closer into the chase format this year. But it's a great track. Been around since 1950 and never disappoints when they go to Darlington. That is definitely one of my bucket lists for sure. But that being said, we're going to flip over to another bucket list of mine, which will be checked off this weekend, as me and the wife will be heading to Martinsville, Virginia for the race this weekend. So anybody in the Martinsville, Virginia area or anybody going, drop a comment on here. Or drop a comment. This will be posted on my Patreon page, but just drop me a comment and let me know if you're going. We can maybe meet up with each other or something. But we'll be there. We'll be there Sunday for that race, and then we're going to go tour the Wood Brothers Racing Museum and Shop, the oldest team in NASCAR, which is right down the road in Stewart, Virginia. So we're going to go hit that too. So. Really, really excited to go to this track this weekend. We also, just a little side note, will be going down to Charlotte, North Carolina. We're leaving out or later this, and going to go to Charlotte first. And I'm going to do a ride along on the Charlotte Motor Speedway that my wife actually was able to get and bought me for Christmas this year. So we're going to go down to Charlotte. And I'm going to do the ride along, and then we're going to head up to Martinsville. But it'll be an exciting weekend, and there will be stuff posted for those that are curious. I'll have there'll be some stuff posted here. There'll be some stuff posted to my TikTok channel. There'll be some stuff posted to my Patreon account, which will be exclusive to our members only, our paid subscribers. Again, I'm not somebody that's out there that's going to gouge people. You can be one of my paid subscribers and get the exclusive content. I have my membership start at $1 a month. So you pay $1 a month and you'll get some exclusive content from the ride along. We're going to be on the infield for pre-race festivities, driver introductions at Martinsville. So you'll get to kind of see the whole experience if you subscribe to the channel over there. But there will be some free stuff. But I don't want everybody to think I'm just going to, make you pay for anything. But there will be some free stuff posted, just not as much of the in-depth stuff. So without further ado, let's jump into the paperclip that is known as Martinsville. Martinsville is just over a half mile, 5.26. The corners are banked. I love these hand signals for banking because I'm so good at it. The corners are banked about 12 degrees, so maybe right around there. And the straightaways are flat, which is unique. Most straightaways in the NASCAR circuit are banked at least 2, 3, 4, 5 degrees. This is just 0. Right now, the straightaways are asphalt, and the corners are concrete. So it's kind of a unique multi-surface racetrack with the transition from asphalt to concrete. It just makes it a little different going in the corners. You have to slow way down going into the corners. You'll see them running over the inside curbs are painted red and white, and you'll see them running up on those. You don't want to hit them too hard or get up on them because it can damage your car. So that's kind of the whole configuration with the racetrack. Really, really unique to see a two-tone racetrack. Dover is like concrete and stuff, but not very often do you see. That's the only one I can think of. There might be another one that uses both forms, but Martinsville has had a lot of things go on there. We just kind of went through the track layout right there. It's a paperclip. That's what it's shaped like. If you look at a paperclip, that means just long straightaways, tight corners. I mean, these tires are really tight. It's hard to explain, but if you look at you can look up an image of it and you'll see how tight it can be. So you'll see guys go in, need to get a guy out of their way because he's holding them up, and then they'll just bump them and send them up the racetrack and drive on underneath them. Bump and run. You're going to see it a lot. So that's one thing to watch out for, is everybody always says when you go to these short tracks, you do have a tendency for some aggression and some tempers to flare up. So that's always something to watch. Looking back at some of the previous winners here, no shock. The most all-time wins at this racetrack are owned by Richard Petty with 15 of them. Darrell Waltrip won 11. Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson both have 9. Rusty Wallace 7. Dale Earnhardt 6. The first driver that's active right now is Denny Hamlin. He has 6 of them also. Your next active would be William Byron with 3. And then you drop down and you get into Ryan Blaney has 2 wins here, and so does Kyle Busch, so does Kurt Busch. They both have 2 wins here, his brother. So, but Kurt's not active, but Kyle has 2. So you got to kind of watch who you're picking this week. I'll go into some of the race predictions and picks later. I'm not going to set my fantasy lineup on this broadcast because I like to wait till qualifying is over, but I'll kind of go through it and kind of give you some ideas on who I'm looking at. And qualifying does mean a lot at a short track because it doesn't take long for the leaders to get up on you and catch you. You're running. You're running roughly on the Cup Series. You're running 18-second laps, 18.8, so 19 roughly second laps, I guess. So you figure over 2 laps a minute. Actually, almost 3 laps a minute, to be honest, if you want to get real close. in the Xfinity series. Now, these were times based on 2024 also, so these could have been increased by then. The Xfinity series was 20.21 was the fastest lap there. And the truck series is 19.9, but the truck series isn't racing this weekend. This is an off weekend for them. So going into more of the preview, we looked at some of the previous winners. Looking at the O'Reilly series, you've got to look at Justin Allgaier again. You just have to. Allgaier, Carson Kvapil, Love, Austin Hill, Sheldon Creed, Sam Mayer, Brandon Jones. You got to watch pretty much the mainstays. We'll look at the point standings and give you a little more, but I mean, obviously Chevy has the most vehicles in this whole series. I think Ford only has 3 or 4 entries. Toyota doesn't have that many either. Chevy pretty much bet on a Chevy to win almost in this thing. But you have to watch the Joe Gibbs with Brandon Jones. They have an open car with the 19. I'm not exactly sure who's driving that this week. It kind of bounces around. We'd have to see if we have a entry list for it, just to see if there is. See if we have one. Oh, we do have one already. Let's go look and see who's entered so we know who we can look at. So see if there's any Cup Series guys dropping down. Let's see. None so far. Brent Cruz is somebody to watch in this also. I mentioned Creed, Carson Kvapil, Jesse Love, Justin Allgaier. Let's see. There's got to be some of these guys dropping down. Nobody. Maybe not. No, Ross Chastain is the only Cup Series driver dropping down. So you want to watch him as well. You always watch the Cup Series guys in these events. Really, those are the guys that I'd be looking for. William Swalich is another one to watch out for. But, those are the guys that I'd look for. While we're looking at that, let's go ahead and just look at the Cup Series and see if we have any open cars trying to qualify. And it looks like we have one because we have 37 cars. Oh, Justin Allgaier is going to drive the number 39 car. Or I'm sorry, the number 48 car, I believe. Yeah, he's going to fill in. That's right. He's not eligible, but he's filling in for Alex Bowman, who's still out with the whole vertigo. So I'm trying to see who is going to be in the open-ish car because there's 36 chartered cars. And unless I missed something. Austin Hill. That's who it is. Okay. So Austin Hill is going to do double duty. He's going to drive the O'Reilly series, and he's going to drive the number 33 car for Richard Childress Racing. And Austin Hill might do really, really well in the Xfinity or O'Reilly's Auto Parts series. And he may not do well at all in the Cup Series. It's just that different level of competition. It's pretty crazy to look at it. So some names you'd look for there. Flipping over to the Cup side. I mean, this is not a good track for Tyler Reddick. But bet against him at your own will. I mean, the dude's won 4 of 6. So, and in fact, Toyota's won 5 of 6. The only other winner was Ryan Blaney, picked up a win. I want to say Phoenix is when Blaney won, but that's 1 Ford and 5 Toyotas. Chevy's been shut out, which is extremely rare for this time of the year. But names to watch. Who you got to watch this weekend on the Cup? You watch Blaney. Ryan Blaney is really, really good at this track. William Byron's really good. Like I mentioned, Tyler Reddick isn't good, but I don't know if I'd bet against him. You got to watch your Kyle Larson's, Chase Elliott's, your Logano's looking for a bounce back. My boy Josh Berry, my driver, wound up 17th last weekend, which, believe it or not, is a better result than he's been having. So I'll take it. He's good on the short tracks. He knows how to manage his equipment. So we'll see how he does in Martinsville. But Denny Hamlin, your mainstays here. Martinsville is going to take. Martinsville's a track that you need. Experience plays a factor. Not to say that a young up and comer rookie or something can't sneak up there, but experience is there for a reason in these cars and how they drive and how to handle the corners with the speed variance going up and down. You've got the bigger horsepower this year on this track also. So you're doing the 750 package, pretty much what we ran at Darlington, just on a different style track. It's just more flat. So this will be like a sister track to New Hampshire Motor Speedway. They're both pretty similarly flat and stuff like that. So the Cup Series, though, you want a wild card, Carson Hocevar, Ross Chastain. We'll get into Ross Chastain here in a few minutes. So predictions on this weekend. We'll jump over here and I'll share my screen again so that we can let everybody see what we're looking at. We'll go over here to the fantasy lineup. So click on this. I didn't even look to see how I did last week yet. Let's see. No, there it goes. Yeah, still up. I need to go back a week. Let's look and see what I did last week with my setup. So didn't do well with my Bubba Wallace pick. I should have put Hocevar in, but I forgot. I always forget to change the driver. Not a bad day. Not a great day either, though. So we'll work on that this week, but this won't be my lineup. I'm not, like I said, I'm not setting mine, but if you do scroll down, they'll give you some, like Ryan Blaney's a great bet. 2 of the last 5 races here, he's won. William Byron, he's won 3 of the last 8 here. Chris Buescher is somebody to avoid. He's never finished in the top 5 in 21 races. Tyler Reddick, he never finished in the top 5 in 12 starts. Excuse me, Ryan Preece is the sleeper. And I agree with that. Ryan Preece is really good at these short tracks growing up in the Northeast. He's really good at these styles of tracks. He's done really, really well. I mean, look at his average finish in the last 4 is a 9. That's pretty good. So he's probably going to make my fantasy team. Only 7 of 12 races has Tyler Reddick finished on the lead lap. So that tells you a lot. And Blaney's got an 8.2 average finish, is the best of all active drivers at this track. So I'm looking, Blaney, Byron. Blaney, Byron, Larson, Chase Elliott, another one who I think is kind of getting overlooked a little bit. Tyler Reddick doesn't do well here. I would almost want to lean towards Bubba Wallace having a rebound, but part of me saying I might just try to stay away from that whole race team at this track. I could be definitely wrong, but that's kind of where I'm looking at going with this week. I can almost guarantee you Ryan Blaney and William Byron will be in my fantasy lineup. Though those are 2 that I would put. I'm leaning towards Blaney winning this race, but we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. I mean, if Blaney has a problem or Byron has a problem in qualifying and starts from the back, it could be a rough day. So that's why don't set your fantasy lineup till after qualifying, which is Saturday afternoon. And the only 2 series are racing this weekend. Like I mentioned, The practice and qualifying for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series will be Friday, with the race being run Saturday. I did see there's a chance for some rain, I believe, in Martinsville Friday, so it is a potential that they push qualifying up or move it to Saturday and do kind of like they did last weekend. It's going to make it a cram-packed day on Saturday at the racetrack, though, because you're going to have the Cup Series qualifying, and then if the O'Reilly's Auto Parts has to qualify Saturday, you're going to have to do that about 10 o'clock in the morning with practice and then do qualifying. Or they may just scrap it and do it. They have a metric they can set the starting rotation, the starting grid by, and they may do that. So we'll just have to play it by ear. If they can get it in, they're going to get it in. But if they can't, they'll set it by the metric and let it just kind of go from there. And the metric is based on percentages of your finishing the last race and owners' points, and it's like 70-30 percentage splits, and it's math stuff, and I don't want to bore everybody on it. So that's just kind of where that sits. Is we'll just play that by ear. But the Cup Series, like I said, kicks off on Saturday with their qualifying and practice, and then qualifying. Sorry. And then you have the O'Reilly's race Saturday night or Saturday afternoon, whenever the Cup Series is done practicing. I think it starts at 5:30. And then Sunday, the Cup Series kicks off, and they crank up at about, I think that race is at 3:30 Saturday. Here I am. I've got going to the race and not even exactly sure when it's going to start. Let's go back and look. I want to get this right for y'all. Why it doesn't have the weekend schedule up here, I don't know, but whatever. On the app on the phone, it does. It just straight up says weekend schedule. So let's just go here and see what we can find. Eventually, it will load. There it is. It's the Cup Series. So yeah, 3:30 Eastern on Sunday for the Cup Series. And if we jump to the O'Reilly Series, it will be, it's going to be at 3:30. So I guess qualifying is at noon. So the Cup Series will be done qualifying and give them time to get on the board. So that's fine. But with it being at 3:30, we'll have to keep an eye on the weather to see what happens with all that, with the qualifying and stuff. So we'll go look at our point standings, and we'll start with the O'Reilly Series. I can share this again. Go over here. We'll go look at the Craftsman Truck Series. We'll start with that one. Chandler Smith still leading the way. Got a pretty decent lead on Caden Honeycutt. That's a pretty good run for Caden Honeycutt, but that's a good truck. That's Corey Heim's truck from last year, who won the championship. So that's a really stout team. Lane Riggs, who is teammates with Chandler Smith, is sitting in third. And then you've got Ty Majeski and Ben Rhodes, who are teammates also, sitting in fifth and seventh, respectively. The top 10, and if you click on any of these, it'll tell you the chase begins after race 18, where the top 10 drivers in points will advance in this series. So from here up would be in right now. So Brendan Queen would be 6 points out of the playoffs right now, or out of the chase. Sorry, it's not the playoffs anymore. But they've only done 4. We're not even a quarter away through their season. So we got plenty of time for this to shuffle. But I would almost bet you that your top 7 are almost locked in. I need to do some checking on Corey Heim, because he's only run 2 races. This tells you how good he is. He's run 2 races and he's 8th in points. These guys have run 4. That's just impressive. But if you look, 2 wins or 1 win, 2 top 5s. So both top 5s were top 10s. So that's how you lead stage points and all that and get points. But that's massively impressive to have raced 2 races and be 8th in points. He'll fall back because he won't race in a few. But still, that's super impressive. But if you say he falls out, then you put Brendan Queen would move up. So there's your playoffs, which would be 4 Fords, 3 Toyotas, 2 Chevys, and or 1 Chevy. Yeah, because only 1 Toyota. So 2 Toyotas, 4 Fords, 2 Toyotas, 2 Chevys, and 2 Dodges, which is really impressive, being that this is Dodge's first year back in the Truck Series after a pretty long absence. So you'll notice something with these standings when I was mentioning teammates, obviously teammates. So when we jump over to the O'Reilly Auto Parts, you'll see Justin Allgaier, Jesse Love, Carson Kvapil, Sheldon Creed, Austin Hill, and Jesse Love are teammates. Sam Mayer and Sheldon Creed are teammates. So, like, teammates are doing really well. Both are in this. This one, they raced 24 races, and the top 12 advance. So, right now, you're looking from Taylor Gray, Sam Mayer, Raja Carruth, Parker Retzloff, Brandon Jones, Corey Day, Sammy Smith, Austin Hill, Sheldon Creed, Carson Kvapil, Jesse Love. Those would be your chase competitors right now. But as you can see, not 1 Ford and only 2 Chevrolet or 2 Toyotas. There's a Ford down here, a Ford here, a Ford here. There's just not. This is just a Chevrolet has put more money and dominate into the series. So Justin Allgaier is probably the one to watch for me. I think Justin Allgaier is a super. But look at the laps led. Jesse Love's led 208 laps, has 0 wins. He's led 92 and has 2. 38 and 1. Sam Mayer has no wins, 80 laps. It's crazy that, you can lead all these laps in a race and still not win the thing. So, and then we'll go to the Cup Series point standings. Now, this is 26 drivers or 26 races make up the regular season and 16 in points advance. But here you go. Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace, teammates. And then you've got Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, teammates. Chris Buescher, Brad Keselowski, teammates. Ryan Preece is a teammate. These all 3 are teammates. Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney are teammates. Those are, the 2 teammates, 2 Fords. So if you look, the top 16, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Fords, 2, 3, 4, 5 Toyotas, and then you'll have 6 Chevrolets. 6. So, it's kind of crazy to see Kyle Larson this low in the points, 10th. The other Hendrick car wouldn't make it right now because of Alex Bowman, but Carson Hocevar's and Daniel Suarez is the big surprise. So is Shane Van Gisbergen. Shane Van Gisbergen probably more of a surprise than Suarez, but Van Gisbergen got a couple more rough racetracks coming up for him with Martinsville followed by Bristol. So we'll see if he can hold on. But Daniel Suarez, after switching from Trackhouse over to Spire in the offseason, it's really impressive. That 7 team has struggled over the past few years. So something's clicking for them. I'd like to see him keep it up. I like Daniel Suarez. I think he's a great guy, and he's a pretty talented driver too. So that's what we're looking at with the point standings. But now we'll get into some fun stuff with Martinsville. I mentioned, Martinsville and the way it's laid out, and it's been around since 1949. The first race there was won by actually Red Byron. He won the first race there in 1949. But the track has a lot of little significance. It has quite a bit of significance, actually, when you think about something over that long ago. Something that's been around for that long, that kind of explains why. But when you look at it, but before I get to the next comment, this is where they actually, if you want to watch a movie, that it's inspired by former driver and used to be team owner Junior Johnson. It's called The Last American Hero. It was from 1973, so probably not been remastered, and it's probably going to have pretty crazy graphics. But just a little fact there that it was, used for filming of a movie. But one thing this track is known for is the dog stand. And it's not a place where you go to walk your dog. It's the Martinsville hot dog stand. And yep, they still sell $2 hot dogs. And they come with toppings. Most of them are sold mustard, chili, coleslaw, and onions. I don't get the coleslaw on a hot dog, but I'm originally from the South. It's just not something we did down in Texas. But to each their own, I'd probably try it just because it's a Martinsville hot dog. And to me, do the thing. You get a sack of them for $12, which is obviously 6 hot dogs. I'm really looking forward to it. If you watch the race this weekend, you'll hear them talking about it quite a bit. It's let's go get a hot dog. And so I'm excited to go check it out and see what it's all about. Hot dogs may be great. Hot dogs may be terrible, but I'll tell you what, if you subscribe to my Patreon, you'll find out whether they're good or terrible. So that's one thing I'm looking for. But for the fact that they're still $2, where if you go to any other sporting event and get a hot dog, unless it's Dollar Dog Night or something, you're going to spend $3.50, $4. So $2 is a pretty good little deal. I like it. It also is known for a couple of different reasons. The biggest one we'll get into next. But why was the 1984 race so important in the history of NASCAR? Well, 1984, there was a race team called, it had a couple of different names. I think at that point it was either just changed over that year to Rick Hendrick Racing or Hendrick Motorsports, sorry, or it may have still been called All-Star Racing. But Rick Hendrick was involved, who was the owner of Hendrick Motorsports. Well, he was just like, we're just wasting money. We're not good. We need to get out of this. We're blah, blah, blah. Well, the driver, Jeff Bodine, and Harry Hyde, the crew chief, who is portrayed in the movie Days of Thunder, pretty much so, just said, look, we just need a little more time. They weren't even going to go to Martinsville and race, and they decided to. And they won. Rick Hendrick didn't even go. He had a church commitment with his church. But he won, Jeff Bodine won the race. And that changed everything, because then Rick Hendrick decided, okay, we'll stay with it. Now they're the most successful organization in NASCAR's history. So crazy how one win can just change everything. We may not have ever had Hendrick Motorsports. I mean, we would have had somebody else in their place, but somebody as dominant as Hendrick Motorsports has been, it's crazy to think that one race and having to beg for another race to have a chance. Pretty crazy when you think about the grand scheme of it all. But Martinsville is also known for the 2022 playoffs. Back then it was called the playoffs. And you had these races in the playoff where you had elimination races. At each, there was 3 different stages. If you go back and look, you'll see. But Ross Chastain had to beat Denny Hamlin by like 2 or 3 cars to advance to the next round. And coming into the last lap, it just, Denny Hamlin's just kind of monitoring and doing what he needs to do, and had everything under control, seemingly. Well, then Ross Chastain decides I have one chance and one chance only. And he literally, you can hear the announcer if you go rewatch this video. You can find it, and I'll give you the name of it here in a minute. He literally put his foot to the floor, put the right side of his car against the wall going into turn 3, and just held it there and never lifted. Kept his foot on the gas. He was going so fast around that corner. That's why when I gave you the 18.845 lap time for the track record as of 2024, that was the 2022 race where Ross Chastain did that, and he set the track record for lap time. Now, that move has since been banned. You cannot do that anymore. But it wasn't banned then, so he took advantage of it. The move is called the Hail Melon because Ross Chastain is a watermelon farmer, for his family is. So it became known as the Hail Melon. We have the Hail Mary in football, so we needed something. So that's how it got stuck. But you'll hear the announcer if you go back and watch that video clip where he's just like, Ross Chastain just did a video game move, and that's exactly what it looked like. I was sitting there watching the race going, what in the world is going on here? And he passed like everybody, including Denny Hamlin, to advance to the next round of the playoffs. Safety issues are the reason it's banned, because if he hits the wall or something goes or car bumps out, just if he doesn't hold it against the wall the whole way, it's going to be nasty. There's going to be people seriously injured. Drivers, crew chiefs, probably our pit members from pieces flying everywhere, fans from debris. So it's understandable why NASCAR banned it. But I have to say, I'm glad I got to see it when it happened, because it was pretty impressive. Just YouTube Hail Melon, and you'll watch it numerous times. I'm not going to give credit to it, but I think that the phrase, I'm putting it to the floor and I'm not going to lift until I see God or the checkered flag, is where it came from, that race. I could be wrong, but either way, even if it didn't come from him on that race, it fits in that moment. Again, we will be coming live later on here in about 30 minutes with the WTP Sports Dudes crew doing our typical Tuesday show, but I wanted to get this in since I'm leaving town. All of our channels are scrolling down at the bottom that you can go find us all on. WTP for Life, Parlay Po, Level Up Sports 10, One Take Zaya. You got Post Game with the Post Game 86 podcast. I'm on SEC Sean, obviously. You can find us all scrolling down below for our channels. Go like and subscribe to all these guys. They all got really good content. Some do, more basketball. Some do a lot more football. So, but I pretty much try to bounce around. This is just, I'm the NASCAR guy here. So I do that. We're definitely going to get some hockey talk rolling too, but like, subscribe, share, hit the notification button. You can find us on line. We have a website at WTPSportsDudes.com. You can ask questions. You can give us insight on what you might want to hear us talk about. You can drop comments on my page and let me know on my videos what you want to see. You can obviously find me on YouTube. You can find me on Patreon at SEC Sean. And TikTok just as well. Not as much on TikTok, just getting started with a TikTok, but you can find me there. And then you can also, if you're driving around and you want to get some NASCAR talk, you can flip on Spotify if you have Spotify and click it on. And I have a podcast on there that this is all uploaded to a podcast version on called NASCAR Talks. So all that's there. Like I said, we'll be having tons of content coming across all the platforms from me, especially this coming week and weekend, with all the stuff, with the exclusive stuff being posted on Patreon. but there's going to be some good content coming out for y'all. I think that y'all will get really excited about. Maybe get you excited to go check out a race once you see kind of the atmosphere and what it's all about. So, other than that, I'm going to jump off here and go prep for the next show. So y'all have a good evening, and we will catch up with y'all next week.